and crafters, welcome to my YouTube live. We're going to be using the Florals in Bloom Suite tonight. I'm just going to make sure everything is working and going well on my end. My video looks a little bit funky, but my sound is working, so hey, progress, right? If you are watching live or watching the replay, please leave a comment saying, hi, I love chatting with you. And tonight we're going to be making 3 cards using the Floral in Bloom. Is it Florals? It's Floral in Bloom Suite. This is from the brand new Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. My video is a little bit funky. I'm not sure why. Oh, I zoomed in too much. Not sure why, but we're going to go with it. I don't know what is happening. It's not. Yeah, this is what we're going to work with. Technology, gotta love it. So the Florals in Bloom Suite includes 2 stamp sets. It's a mega suite. 2 stamp set and die set bundles. The beautiful in color pearls featuring all 5 of our beautiful in colors. And I'll tell you what they are because I'm getting really good at remembering them. Secret Sea, Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Darling Duck, and the returning Strawberry Slush. Sorry again if my video looks a little weird. It looks weird to me too, but we're going to make. So the 2 stamp sets, they're both photopolymer stamp sets. The Pretty Floral stamp set has 10 stamps. It's a 2-step stamping. Makes gorgeous flowers. We're going to be showing, I'm going to show you how to use this on our 3rd card. And then the Sweet Blooms stamp set has these wonderful phrases and sayings and some background images. We're going to be using this for all of our cards tonight. And then the dies. Let me show you the dies. So here are the Sweet Bloom dies. They coordinate with this bundle. You can buy all of these things separately starting Tuesday, March 6th. These dies cut out the words, and oh, they're so pretty. I'm going to show you our first card, just the preview of the first card we're going to be making. This is the word lovely. You can also cut out blooms this way too, so that's why there are 4 of these dies. This also cuts out the flower here and then the little leaf here. But how pretty is that? I'm going to be showing you that in just a moment. Hello, Charlene. Thank you so much for joining me. And then let's look at the Pretty Florals dies. I'll close that later. The Pretty Florals dies coordinate with the stamp set. And they're massive. There's so many dies in here. Look at all the dies. And now you can cut out paper flowers or you can cut out stamped flowers. So I'm going to be showing you a little bit of both for our cards tonight. Our 2nd card will be using the paper flowers, and then our 3rd card will be using the stamped flowers. And then let me show you the paper. You guys know I love a good paper pack, and this one is good. So it's 12 by 12, but I cut it down just so I could show you. You get 6 sheets, 2 each of, or you get 2 sheets each of 6 designs. So this is the front. And look at the back, that strawberry slush. We're going to be you'll see that in another project I have this week. We're going to be using this one tonight. I love the florals, but I also love the patterns on the back. How pretty. And I love that petunia pop color. So that is the suite. I want to move my dots back because we're going to be using these on our card tonight. So that's the suite. Again, all this is available on May 6th. The brand new catalog goes live. If you need a new catalog, just leave a comment and I would be happy to connect with you and send one out. With that said, let's get started with our first card. This is our first card. I will set our sample up right there. Most of it is petunia pop. Get my ink ready. And our card base is thick basic white. I'm going to grab my bone folder quickly and just burnish that edge because I like a good burnished edge. That way it doesn't pop up on me. We have our petunia pop layer, our designer series paper, and I'll you can use whatever paper you want, but I love how that coordinates so well. And we're going to be doing a little bit of stamping. So I have cut my pieces here, and when you place a $30 order in my online store, you'll be getting the materials to make all of these cards, minus like the stuff that comes in the suite. So the designer series paper, I cannot send stamped images, but you'll get all the little pieces to stamp yourself. But we're going to open our Petunia Pop, and I have 3 stamps from the suite. I'll show you which ones I'm using, because we're kind of using both stamp sets. For this card, though, I am just using the Sweet Bloom stamps. I'm using this guy here, and then the Day and Hava. Lovely as all die cut. So I have them all ready to go, and we're just going to ink that up in Petunia Pop. Oops, that one got a little wonky. Let's try that again. A little wonky, but better. And then for our background, I did die cut a stitched circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. You will get this in your kit when you place a $30 order in my online store. Just going to stamp that twice. I just thought it gave it a nice little texture. And then for our words, I've already done the die cutting just to save time. So I die cut one piece with one die in basic white, and then I use the other in Petunia Pops. So I'll show you the dies and see what I mean. So this die here cut out the basic white, and the skinnier one, the script, cut out the Petunia Pop color. So then you can layer them, and I used an adhesive sheet to layer them. You could also use liquid glue, which is how I'm going to be putting it on our circle here. But I just think it's really neat. You could also even pop these up with dimensionals if you wanted to. I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue, not a whole lot. And then some of this is going to be off of the circle, so I'm not using it on the whole thing. I'm just going to press that down kind of in the center of the circle. See, I moved it. Now we have glue all over. So let me try to place it where it was. And then sometimes I just like to take some clear blocks and set it there for just a minute while I grab my dimensionals for the rest of our sentiment here. Pop some on the back of these. And I really did kind of mess that up, didn't I? That's okay. It's a handmade card is what I always say. I'm going to grab our designer series paper. I'm going to put the Hava at the top, and I liked it kind of at an angle like that. I just thought it was more interesting than just plopping it right on the card. And now we can add a couple of dimensionals to our circle. And then pop that right in the center. Take the backing off of that. And then for this card, I didn't use, I did do the wrong side. You know what? We can just redo this one more time because I do have a little piece of basic white right here. We still have the stamp set and everything out. I was going to say, though, I didn't do an embellishment for this card because I just thought that background paper was so pretty that I didn't think it needed anything. So for this piece, it is 1/2 inch by 1.5. It's very tiny. Actually, it might be smaller than that. It is. It's 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch. So I'm just kind of off camera here getting my little paper trimmer so that way I can have one more crack at that stamp. And I'm trying not to mess up the rest of my cardstock. So because I have all the supplies for our other cards right there. There we go. Yeah, it's 3/4 by 1/2 inch. So it's a very small piece of paper. Let's see. Much better. We're going to go with that one. And then a dimensional, which I threw on the floor. Pick those up. Pop that right. And again, kind of at an angle. I just like that. And then you can use Stampin' Seal or liquid glue, whatever you have handy. I have my Stampin' Seal right here. What's left of it, that one's almost empty. I just like it's quicker. Layer that on the petunia pop, and then the petunia pop onto the thick basic white card base, which is also included. All the card bases, the layers, everything's included in the kit except the DSP and anything that's stamped or die cut with the products in the suite. So this is card number 1. Hope you like it. I think it is super cute. Just gonna put a couple of things away and then we can move on to card number 2. I'll show it to you. It's my favorite. Absolutely love card number 2. To me, this is like the wow card of all 3 of them. This is my favorite. I like the 3rd card too, but this one for sure my favorite. And I like just the black background with the pops of color. And I tried to use a few of the different new in colors just to show you what they look like. So that's strawberry slush there, and then the timid tiger, and then that yellow is the darling duck, just so you could see what they look like. And for this one, we're going to need the You Make Me Smile from the Sweet Blooms stamp set. I'm going to grab that out and we'll put it on a D block, kind of at an angle. Let me move these cards out of the way. Get our supplies out. So again, I've kind of already done most of the die cutting just because it saves time. This card folds like this. And then I've already embossed our layer with the mini corrugated embossing folder, which this panel will be included in the card kit. Charlene says, I love the black background makes the flower, but definitely that's what I love about it too. It's like, I love that flower, but it's so plain until you add the texture. So there's these cool little pieces, and this is in the pretty floral dies. So the pretty floral dies is what we're using for this card. I'll show you these again. So this big one here, and then these are the detailed pieces. And again, this one also cuts out the stamped flowers, which I'll show you in our next card. But I love all these little pieces here. So we're just going to put these together. And for this, I use liquid glue. You could also cut out these detailed pieces with some adhesive sheets if you prefer. They probably do save time, but I just like the liquid glue because sometimes I'm not really perfect with my placement, and liquid glue just gives you that little bit of time to, you know, if I mess up or I don't put it right where I like it. And these are very forgiving. So it just kind of goes like that, I think. Yeah, and this piece kind of goes up. Yeah, it goes like that. And it's just, this is kind of also a little bit abstract, so it's like wherever you want it to go. And then for the flowers, there's 2 like bigger bottom pieces. And I think they go on the bigger, I think that's not right. You just kind of gotta feel it out and see how you like it. And you can tell when you put them down, like, oh, that's not right. Pretty sure that's how that goes. Maybe it's not. I think maybe I got the other 2 mixed up, but I'm almost positive this one goes like this. Pop that down. I think these 2 need to get switched. Let's see. That looks like it for sure fits. And yep, that one fits. Just take a little bit of liquid glue, not too much. Don't need it going all over. Pop this one on. And again, we're just going to pop these ones up with dimensionals. I'm going to put down our background panel first, so that way I know it's on there. And I like, again, liquid glue for this too, just because it gets in those crevices and nooks and crannies and really sticks down. Again, sometimes I like to take a block. If I had one, I do. A block and just pop it on there and let it sit for a second. For our sentiment, we are going to be using Memento Tuxedo black ink, or whatever black ink you had. Secret C, if you have that, might work. And every time I say Secret C, it sounds like I'm saying secrecy. I'll show you. It's literally Secret C, not secrecy. I have to work on saying that one slower. So this is also from the Stylish Shapes dies. It's that little banner die, and that will also be included in the kit. And that's really it for stamping, unless you wanted to go crazy and decorate the inside with flowers, which you definitely could. For this live, I'm just kind of keeping it a little simple. And we're going to use dimensionals again. So what I like to do though is I'm going to take some glue dots and I put them just on the bottom parts of my greenery here. And I know I want them to stick to this flower. So I put one there. I don't want it to go too far off the edge. Because especially if I'm mailing this card, I want everything to fit. So he says that color black or blue. So it's kind of, I think it's more of a bluish. So I know it's really probably hard to tell on camera, but if you compare it to the black, like it's more of a bluish color. It's very dark, but I would say like a dark, dark, dark blue. I could even compare it to like our darkest blue is Night of Navy. And it's almost black compared to that. But if you compare it to actual like black, it's not at all. It's an odd color. You definitely have to see it in person. And here's like the pearl for it. It's definitely a different sort of color. I really like it. I think it might be my favorite from the new in colors. So we're just going to pop this up with a few dimensionals, and then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of all these flowers as well. And then I just kind of put this towards the bottom, but again, I don't want that greenery going off the edge of the card. And then I just scattered these guys around kind of willy-nilly wherever I thought they looked nice. And I didn't want to cover up the greenery too much, but we'll just pop a few on the back of these. And because I used so many different colors for our little bling, because I always have to have a little bit of bling, we're going to go with the antique pearls because they are pretty neutral. You definitely could use a couple of these. I just like the antique pearls. I thought they really just, I didn't want to take too much away from the colors popping, you know. I'm just going to kind of throw 3 of these around. And that is our second card. Whoops, and I'm dropping pearls. So then for our third card, we're going to do a little bit more stamping because we're going to be stamping and then die cutting these flowers. Let me move these out of the way, but not too far. And we're only going to be using the Pretty Peacock and then also Berry Burst, which I didn't grab. I'll grab Berry Burst too. But I'm going to change the background color. I'll show you our card here in a minute. But there is the card I use. I use that Darling Duck again with the Pretty Peacock and then the Berry Burst. For this card, we're switching it up just a little bit. And we're going to be using Timid Tiger, for our base. And I've already die cut in Peacock, Pretty Peacock. And then we did Darling Duck for the flowers. And then a little bit of Gorgeous Grape for the inside, because I did do a little bit on the inside there. But I am going to show you just on a scrap paper how to do this two-toned stamping. So I do have a little scrap there. And then the Pretty Floral set. For this one, we used these flowers. For my sample here, I used these flowers. I'm going to show you these ones because they're a little more detailed. I'm going to grab those and then these. Pop that onto a block. Then I want to show you in Berry Burst just because it's a darker color and it's so much easier to see. So how I achieved that two-tone effect is this is your background. That's your detail. So you take the background, ink it up, and then stamp off onto your grid paper and then onto your cardstock, and you get a lighter effect. And then for your details, Just ink that up and line it up. And I hope I'm not going to get my head in the camera. Line it up. Pretty good for not being right over top of it. And that's it. So now you have your flowers that you are ready to die cut with the pretty florals dies, and these ones would die cut those, and you have 3 flowers. So I've already done that here. And save those. I'll die cut those and use them on a different project. Get this out of the way before I ink up my hand. And then we need an E block because I'm going to stamp the bloom where you're planted. So I need, oh, I didn't put away my other stamp yet, but that's okay. I can do that. The bloom, and I don't like to move it too much because I don't want it to get crooked. And then where you're planted, and I'm just going to grab somewhere in my life I have a longer block. I don't know where though. Oh, there it is. It's just back in the drawer a little far. And this is an H block. Sometimes too, I just like to lay it down and pick it up. That way it doesn't get crooked. So we need our pretty peacock. I'm going to move this sample just so I don't get any ink on it. And then our basic white, which will be included in your card kit. And I ink up the bloom. And again, you can use whatever colors. I just really liked how the pretty peacock stood out. I'm lining this up with my grid paper to try to get it as straight as I possibly can. Looks good to me. And then the where you're planted is going to go right under that. About there, kind of offset it a little. And then that's it for the stamping, other than obviously the flowers, which I've already done. I'm going to take the inside of our card and I'll just put this flower in. And I used liquid glue for this. I don't know. I don't like a lot of dimension on the inside of cards because they don't close properly, in my opinion. Some people I know do put dimensionals on the inside of their cards, and that's just fine if you do that. I don't. So this is that, I think it's supposed to be like lavender or like a hollyhock or something, but I used Gorgeous Grape for that one. In the same way I just showed you, I stamped off on the solid part, and then the detail part I went in full straight. So I'm just, since it's out, I'm going to grab my liquid glue and we're going to put this on the inside of our card. Just like that. And then for this part, we are going to use dimensionals. I used liquid glue for the leaves. And again, not a whole lot because I don't want glue getting everywhere, but just enough so it will stick down. And then dimensionals for the backs of the flowers. Pop those right on there. And this one, you might want to use a mini, but if you're careful, you can use a regular dimensional. And then I just kind of place the small one down here on the small leaves. The medium, oops, threw that on the floor. The medium one on the medium leaf. And then the large one on the larger leaf. Is that right? No, I'm going to turn it that way. And then we can use our liquid glue again. Just place that on our card base. And then here I will use the In Color Pearls. And now on our sample, I went with Darling Duck. For this card, I think I will go with Timid Tiger. I use the largest one and the smallest one in the corner there, and then the medium one up top. So let me bring back in our other cards. That was our second card and our third card. I'm going to have to like layer them on top of each other. So I hope you enjoyed this card class. Charlene says she loves the clean and simplicity of the card and color combo. Thank you so much, Charlene. I loved it too. If you would like to get the supplies for free, be sure to place a $30 order in my online store before May 11th. May 11th is the closing date. A $50 order gets you all the supplies to make cards plus a pack of these in color pearls, which will be available to everyone Tuesday, May 6th. So keep an eye on my social media all week. I will be showing you the in colors, some great new products, and just stuff you're going to love. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.